All right, years before Biden would claim he had no idea how his son made a living, we now have emails showing the former vice president's team colluding with Hunter Biden's business partners to stop media stories about Burisma, the corrupt energy company that paid Hunter $1 million a year, the company whose owner says he paid Joe Biden a $5 million bribe. VP Biden's communications director, Kate Bedingfield, at the time would routinely email Eric Sherwin, who served as managing director of investment firm Rosemont Seneca Partners, the firm Hunter Biden co-founded with Devon Archer. In one instance, Sherwin sent Bedingfield an email way back in 2015. Biden's a vice president. Obama's in the White House. Written statements to feed to the press in response to any inquiries about Hunter's role on Burisma's board. Hours later, Bedingfield responded by saying VP signed off on this. Next to a statement denying any involvement with Joe Biden and Burisma. Years later, Biden would, of course, deny having any knowledge of how Hunter was making a living. He does that even up until very recently. Take a look.
I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period.
How many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board. I found out he was on the board after he was on the board. And that was it. There's not one single bit of evidence, not one little tiny bit, to suggest anything done was wrong.
Days later, another email, Sherwin gave guidance on how to walk through ways to kill stories on Hunter's business dealings. This is after Bedingfield told Sherwin that a Bloomberg reporter asked Joe Biden questions about Hunter. Sherwin's advice reads, I would just urge her, as I know you are doing, that there is no new news there. And even if she uses it, she would avoid getting into past stories, Navy, etc., that have nothing to do with this. Bedingfield responded saying that she had spoken with the reporter and that she will only use if her editors hold a gun to her head. She will absolutely not do the second thing. Journalism. Independent journalist Matt Taibbi joins us now. I'm sure it's something that's pretty offensive to you. It's interesting for a couple reasons. First, it's just more proof that Biden clearly has been in on whatever this scheme is, that the family business. It also, though, this reporter from Bloomberg, who I'm not sure we have identified yet, but basically working to help kill her own story because obviously it seems her politics got in the way.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not surprising at all. I know a number of reporters who work for major news organizations who tried in various ways actually to report on this story and had trouble getting past their own editors even when they had newsworthy material. In this case, it looks like the reporter was actually the one who didn't want to go after the story, which is even worse. I've seen that as well. There were stories like that in the Twitter files involving things like Project Alabama, where reporters knew about misdeeds that were going on and held the information until it was politically convenient to release. So that's not surprising, but it's very, very sad and speaks to the degraded state of our business.
You know, this moment from Philip Bump, the Washington Post columnist, on this podcast last week. We showed it last night, but I was dying to get your reaction to it. I want to play it one more time.
What do you take from the text message to his adult daughter, Hunter's text message, that I have to give 50% of my income to Pop?
I have no idea what that means. I don't. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, but you say there's no evidence, but then there's a text message where he says, I give Pop 50% of my money. That's evidence.
Okay, well, okay, fine.
So
it's evidence. I appreciate you having me on.
That's the wildest moment. I can't get over that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, and another part of that podcast, and I know Noam, he's great, funny guy. I used to hang out at his comedy club. But Philip said that I have an agenda and sort of implied that my reporting was not reliable as a result. I mean, the Washington Post has basically unapologetically been a partisan vehicle for really 7 years going now.
Yeah.
And Bump has been a major part of that. For him to call anybody else, say anybody else has an agenda is laughable. But also, it's just the straight reportorial denying of fact that is astonishing to me. Why do that? I don't really understand.
Boy, what a humiliating podcast. He picked the wrong one to go on. I want to get to a topic here that I know you're interested in. You recently talked about the EU's Orwellian Digital Services Act. That is going to move all the way through, Europe. I mean, it's amazing. It forces tech companies like Twitter, Facebook to remove hate speech or what they deem to be hate speech at the request of European governments, or they face a huge fine. I can't imagine what a government as big as the EU is basically one big government now. I mean, what will they try and do with that in the near future when they figure out that we can label things hate speech and make our lives a lot easier? And you think this is something that's coming to the U.S. as well?
Oh, it's definitely something that's coming to the United States. And in fact, that's one of the things that we found in the Twitter files was discussion about how European-style hate speech laws were definitely coming here.
Yeah.
We saw it discussed in an Aspen Institute, meeting about these things. But the Digital Services Act, I think, is kind of the Orwellian preview of what's to come, probably for the entire world. It really requires all of these platforms to engage in self-censorship at a mass scale with huge penalties if they do not comply even once. So, and they also have the right to invoke a state of emergency at any time and impose new rules if something like a pandemic or a war tip breaks out. And that could be us very quickly. We've experimented with things like that in other countries. There's a program called DIA in Ukraine, which is very, offers a template for that sort of thing. So it's something definitely to worry about.
These governments, they get so scary. They get so big and powerful, and they get very scary. Matt Taibbi, is always good to have you on. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much, Jeff.